It's like what, 9 o'clock at night right now? Chris is getting ready to go out with her sister. There's I forget what event it is. It's like I'll ask real quick. Hey Chris, what is the event? What is the event? ¿Qué tipo de evento es? ¿Qué festival? So there have been. She's not even sure. She's not even sure what the event is. There's been fireworks going off all afternoon since about 5 o'clock, and her sister called and was like, "Hey, you want to go to this event tonight? It starts at 9 o'clock. It's down at the riverfront. Something going on from like 9 o'clock until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. They're gonna go out and carouse." Smeagol, what's up, buddy? No. Hang on. No. So the green screen, Chris and I hung it up on the wall today, so I have a much bigger green screen space, but it's a fabric. And Smeagol immediately just was like, "What's this? This is new." He started clawing at the corner. I was like, "Nope. Can't have that happening." This is kind of a test run too, because when we move into the other office, it'll end up being like this. I'll have one whole wall that's Oh, you know what? I need to fix something I just noticed. I got like clothesline clips, man, holding it up. And one of them was loose. All right, we're good. I'll keep continuing here. The everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by voices raised in anger. Abelards louder than the others. "This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a high-born brat. Explain yourself, Lieutenant." Oh, this is the. This happened. I remember this in beta. This is that event that bugged out on me. So essentially, I'm gonna paraphrase all this because I don't want to read through all this since they're not doing voiceovers for all this stuff. By the way, I've got a video coming out tomorrow. My early thoughts on Rogue Trader. I think at noon Central tomorrow. So I've got a Baldur's Gate 3 announcement video because the Xbox version is here and I installed it today. There's a special announcement happening tomorrow at 9 and then tomorrow at noon. I've got my early thoughts on Rogue Trader, and I love the game so far, but the one complaint I have is it's very spotty. It's like got sections of where it's really good voice acting, there's lots of it, and then there's like nothing for huge swaths. And it's frustrating to me. I understand that it's a budget thing, but it also seems completely random. It doesn't have like if I were limited budget, what I would do is I would say, okay, I'm gonna take the main storyline and have all that be voiced. But instead, what they've done is like some of the main story is voiced, some of the side quests are voiced, and it's completely random. I wish more of it was voiced because it would be awesome, but also there's a ton of dialogue here. So to paraphrase, there's a what do you call it? There's an insurgency happening down below with some of the. I mean, it's an interesting concept where you have these huge ships that have been around for thousands of years, and there's essentially the slave caste who have been born into it, and generations of people who serve on a ship and are born on the ship and grow up and serve on the ship, and they never leave the underbelly. It's a very grim environment, and they're not happy about some stuff that's happening. Bubbloni says looks pretty good. Edges around your head, hair and microphones are clean. Yeah, I could probably I'm pretty happy with it. We'll see how the setup goes so far, but the standing desk situation is just completely hacked together. It's just a bunch of chairs, a bunch of tables, wooden tables that are put together in a funny way. And I'll have to make some adjustments to it, but it's working for now until we figure out what we're doing with that other room. I love it because no one knows, because it's just the illusion of the green screen, so no one actually sees the hacked together stuff unless I show them. All right. Matter of extreme importance. All right, what is it? Any minute now, an assault unit's going to be dispatched to lower decks to crush the workers' strike. I'm convinced this step is unwarranted and the crisis was provoked by the actions of one of your senior officers, aka Abelard, for being kind of a tyrant. Hey man, if I've learned one thing about being married to a Mexican is that you don't buy new shit if you don't have to. You do everything. Everything is you're literally engineering stuff on a daily basis. So like as an example, we have a flat roof. It's a flat concrete roof, and at one point in time, there are like 6 drains on the corners and some other places on the rooftop. It's like a flat concrete ceiling with like a curb around the outer edge that's like block, like cinder block, and that's like a curb. And there's drain pipes like 4-inch or 6-inch. I think it's like 6-inch PVC pipe that comes out. Actually, no, it's not. It's 4-inch PVC pipe that comes out, and that's the drains. And those are like 2 feet long, and they shoot it out and drains out into your yard or on the side of the house or wherever it's going to drain. Well, over time, this house is 20 years old. Over time, the house has shifted and sunk on my office side. Actually, as I'm standing here, the first thing I noticed to Chris is like, because I set up this desk, I was like, the whole thing is leaning to my left. So it's like this. And I was like, I can see it so bad when I'm standing here. It's like the desk and everything it's probably, if I had to guess, this whole office is probably 2 inches out. Without putting a level on it, it feels like it's about 2 inches out of level. Across like a 10-foot width. Anyway, up top, because it's shifted, it doesn't drain like it used to, and so when it rains, water pools in the middle of the roof and in one corner where there's not a drain pipe. So Chris is like, I'm gonna go make a drain pipe. So I was like, well, we don't have any tools. I don't have a chisel. I have a hammer, but we don't have a chisel. We don't have I don't have like a drill or anything. I was like, I don't know how we're going to put a hole in it. And she's like, I'll take care of it. So her solution, and this is Mexican engineering, is she's literally going up. She got a piece of PVC pipe, a little piece of 2 or 3-inch PVC pipe, and she's going up there with a piece of rebar. It's legit. She's like, I'm not going to spend money on tools, is what she told me, when I have everything I need. So she started with a nail, like a 3-inch 16-penny nail, and she started with a nail and got a hole started in this concrete block in the curb up there, and then she made it big enough with a piece of rebar, and then she's just tink, 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 tink with the rebar and making a hole that's big enough for the PVC pipe, and then she's putting that in, and then she went and bought a little kilo bag of cement, and she's going to patch it up, and she's like, there's no reason we need to buy a drill or a chisel and all this other stuff when I could just do it with the crap that's hanging around the house. And I was like, that's why I love you, honey. I never have to worry about things getting done because she just does it. And that's, honestly, I feel like, and this is going to be a very, I don't want anybody to be offended by this, but I grew up in the United States, right? And so I feel like I could say this, where convenience is such a huge thing that most people have either never learned how to do things or they've gotten accustomed to never have to do things. They just expect somebody else to do it for them. Hire a handyman, hire this, blah, 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 blah. And so they just don't know how to do shit. And I know how to do shit. I just don't necessarily like to do shit because I did it for a living for so many years. But at the very least, I know how to do, like, I've built all my carpentry. I know how to do carpentry. I've built all the stuff in the backyard, the chicken coop and the, the cat, like the guys who came and did the air conditioning maintenance, we offered them a cup of coffee. They were back hanging out, and they were like, "Oh, I love this the cat refuge," because we had all the cats locked in there because that way they didn't freak out and try to run away while the guys were here. And they're like, "Oh, I love that pet shelter," and I was like, "Cool, thanks." Like, did you build that? I was like, "I did. That was last year's project with the chicken coop." And they're like, "Man, that's a lot of wood." And I was like, "I know. Like, wood is not something that people do a lot of. They work with block, but I know how to work with wood, so, I built it all out of wood." Um, but what I'm getting at is if I and I don't mean to sound sexist when I say this, so I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, but I do feel, especially in the United States, Canada, the UK, people as a general rule don't learn stuff, and especially they've been trained that the female persuasion should never do things with physical tools or manual labor because that's a man's job. And of course, with Me Too and everything else in the last 10 years, we've started to get past that. And I've loved TikTok these days of like, I'm seeing women roofing crews. And like there's a whole crew of women who are out there doing roofing. And I think that's awesome, like that you're willing to do that. But I feel like when it comes to things like plumbing and, masonry, and I feel like a lot of the female persuasion won't do those things in the North because, I'll just hire a handyman. And Chris is like, fuck that. Just give me a hammer and a piece of rebar and I'll take care of that shit. And that's fucking awesome. I love my wife to death. I never have to worry about anything. And that is an amazing place to be in life, is to be like, to know that your significant other can just take care of shit. And it's like, if I need to do stuff, cool, but I don't have to always do stuff. It's like it's an independent entity who is more than capable of doing everything that I can do, and it's a great partnership. It works very well. Bubblina says, call me crazy, but it would be cool if your studio was like the Old West cabin at Knott's Berry Farm, deliberately off, but just enough to film a tiny version on the left and a giant on the right. Dude, that would be fun. I could probably do something like that eventually. Hopefully the house doesn't shift too much more over time, though, because um, it's an issue because we're on a slope. Um, Long term, I'm not too stressed about it because it's concrete and there's not a lot the concrete could go wrong. But it has sunk over the years by a couple inches, so we'll see if it does anymore. I'm not going to blame it on me measuring incorrectly and cutting things with a handsaw this morning. It's definitely the floor. And the only reason I can say that is because I know when I came in here and initially was doing measurements and stuff, I was like, I don't think the guys who built this place knew what a framing square was because they're not doing framing. So I don't think there's a single room in this house that has square walls. Everything in this house is out of square by at least 3 or 4 inches within 10 feet, which is horrible. Horrible. I think they just strung some lines, I think the guys were like, yeah, let's crack open a 6-pack and, let's string some rope and, looks good from my house. That's where we're going to put the stakes. I literally think that's what happened. Because nothing in here is square. The only thing that's by dimensions is like the doorways are all the same, windows are the same size, and everything else. But I don't know that I ever showed that in the homesteading videos. One of these days I should show that on the homesteading channel. All right, Abelard heard something about cultists hiding in the lower deck. None of the vermin that murdered Theodora will find refuge on her ship. This lieutenant saying you were too heavy-handed. You did arrests, interrogations, mass punishments. It's driven the people to the brink. Now there's a strike. 3 worker clans are involved. Many more are passively supporting them. Alright. How did all this start? Alright, never mind. He says, I acted within the remit of my authority. Guided. Okay, so he's just like, I did what I thought was best. Alright, let's go. So Abelard's a little upset. Bubbleland says, here's the part that would fuck me up. You're in a rainforest a kilometer or so from ruins dedicated to ancient gods. There's probably a vast cavern under your house, big enough for a lost city. It could very well legitimately be true. One of the coolest things, if you've never researched it, go look up, this is for anybody watching and listening, go look up Palenque. I'm about 30, 45 minutes from Palenque, depending on which route you take. The city of Palenque, which is the ruins that right now that you can go to. It's a big tourist attraction here in the middle of nowhere, there's a big project in Mexico right now called the Mayan Train, which is connecting Palenque to Cancun and Playa del Carmen and the ruins at Chichen Itza. And it's basically a giant train system like what they have in Spain and France. It's a light rail system. And it's pretty much near completion now. They've got an airport out there, and now they're bringing the train, and they're trying to turn this into another major tourist attraction because tourism brings in a ton of revenue for the country. Those ruins, I'm gonna go look this up real quick because I wanna make sure I get the percentage correctly. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say it's only 12%, or it might be 2%. There's only like it's a small percentage of Palenque is actually what they have uncovered and restored to make into the ruins of Palenque that you can go visit as a tourist attraction. But the mapping they've done of the jungle, it's like it's a percentage of the total metropolis that was at one point in time spread across this entire region. It was a megatropolis. It was a mega city. Oh, here it is. By 2005, the discovered area covered up to 2.5 kilometers or 1 square miles, but it is estimated that this is less than 10% of the total area of the city explored, leaving more than 1,000 structures still covered by jungle. In 2017, it received almost 1 million visitors in a year. So it generates a pretty big amount of traffic. Honestly, it's a really cool place. We used to run retreats out there and do tours and stuff. And there's a ton of stuff in the region where you can go down the river and visit like Yaxchilan and Bonampak. Bonampak is still actually run by the Mayan, one of the Mayan tribes that lives there. And so a lot of the tourism places you'll go to, like Chichen Itza, it's government run. But when you go to Bonampak, it's run by the natives, the indigenous people who have been here for centuries. So when you go, there's a border before you ever get to the ruins, and if you're with an official tour company or anything else, they have to drop you off at the border, and everything from that border onwards, you have to use the transportation provided by the Mayan tribe. You have to use their transportation, their tour guides. You're not allowed to take photos or videos without paying them their fees, and it's very much, this is our place, and we're going to generate the income here. We'll take care of it and everything else. Bonampak is really beautiful, and Yaxchilan as well. Yaxchilan, you actually have to take a scary ass boat ride down the river, and it's like you're in an Indiana Jones movie. Because I'll never forget, we got on the boat, and it's this long little narrow thing, and it's like, it's maybe 4 feet wide, if that, and it's just a long boat with a canopy over the top, and it looks rickety as hell, and they'll put like 12 people on a boat, and they don't give you safety jackets or anything. They just put you on the boat, and technically they have life jackets, but they're like back in the back. They don't hand them out to anybody. You just get on this boat, and it was high season, so the river was up, and we're going down the river, and the fucking engine dies, and the boat just starts swinging to the side because we're getting swept by the current. And then here comes a log, and the log just chunks on the side of the boat. Meanwhile, the guy's in the back, like, pulling the fucking cord trying to start the engine again. And I was like, we're all gonna die. Like, there was just the thought in my mind was like, this is how I'm going out. Like, I'm going out in a river trying to go visit a ruin, you know. And he took about 3 tries, but he got it started again. But there was a slight moment of like, I'm starting to clench. Like, but there's some really cool stuff out where we live. If we ever decide to get a car, we'll probably start exploring again and start going and doing what we used to do, which is videography and stuff. I mean, technically we have videos and photos about all these places, but those videos are 10 years old at this point. Like, literally, I think the videos from Palenque we have are from 2013. Might be 2012. And I think the last time we were at Yaxchilan was 2014. No, 2015. 2015. So like 8 years ago. Because I think the last workshop we ran was after Christina's surgery, which was her surgery was the beginning of 2014, so it's probably been either late 2000. It would have been late 2014 actually. So it's been like 9 years. Because 2015 was when we were in Spain. Uh-oh. They're attacking Abelard. Let's keep moving. We need to get to the bottom of this. Okay. Oh, there's a valve.
Keep your wits about you.
Did it do anything?
You are authorized.
Did not seem to do anything.
I always have a backup plan.
There's another valve. Okay, there's multiple valves in here. Can't seem to do anything with them, though.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
I like how the camera zooms in and pulls you in. Alright, so this is one of the enforcers, the assault units. So he's here to put an end to the unrest and purge the sector. It's pretty hardcore if you think about it. She's like, no. Alright, I want to speak to this. Alright, they tried to throw things at us. She's like, oh my god. Is that all you have to say? Are you sure you're worthy of an officer's rank, Lieutenant Vent? Forgive me, Lord Captain. I will make sure that such things don't happen again. Alright, I want to speak to the strikers. So Abelard's a little upset that I want to talk. He wants me to just let the strike team do their shit. He's very much, I am the law! Better quick save here just in case. Right. A dozen pair of eyes stare apprehensively at you. At least he bowed. His name's Rivet. Lord Captain, you've come down to us. And we were attacked on the way here. How do you explain that? Old woman. There's an explanation. People have been pushed to the limits and now they're lashing out. Stager says, our clans are all on the inside of the bay that's been sealed up, but the lower decks are big. Who knows who it is? Awareness text is seated. Their words seem sincere. Their body language and glances between them reveal the news of the attack has shocked them. Alright, why are you striking? Striking? That's news to us, your lordship. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. Shut up, Rivet, says an old woman. Here's the deal, your lordship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. They turn off the heating to whole bays for a week at a time. We get sick and freeze. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes when children's deaths are mentioned. Okay. Lordship, we're no villains. We're just honest workers, your servants. We plotted no disorder. We went on strike openly, and now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed. God, I need to learn how to read. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. Okay. I was told that one of you was in possession of an amulet and that there are heretics hiding here. Cultist amulet? What? Definitely not. They took it off a dead body. If there was anything, they took it off a dead body. Some people looted them. Boots, an amulet, who knows? But here we all worship the Emperor and we bow down before the machine spirits. We're people of the faith. Pascal says, I can confirm the information regarding the proper tending of the machine spirits in this sector, so everything's up to snuff. Okay. Who will you lay blame to when beasts crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? Oh, wow. Alright. Abelard, do you have anything to add? I authorize the use of all necessary measures to locate chaos worshippers. Nevertheless, I am certain that the actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores. They're enemies and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action. Alright, what changes do you want, guys? Oh, this old woman's a nasty old hag, isn't she? Would you look at that? This exalted Lord Captain himself's asking us what bilge rats like us want. Well, here's what we want. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, stop battering everything that moves. We want enforcers gone from here. We want to be armed. Give us guns. We'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if the cultists show their faces. You've gone too far, old Nan. They'll never let the maggots on the lower decks live without the enforcers breathing down their necks. Alright, let me try coercion. Spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step towards embracing chaos. Putting weapons in untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands, we will consider the rest. Success. The tall worker they call Rivet shrugs and casts a sidelong look at the old woman. Old Nan, listen. Listen, the Lord Captain himself has come down to us and is offering concessions. And I don't know a single person in the whole Depot 4 has ever stood next to the road trader, let alone talk to them. Back down. There's no time for you to, now's no time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Alright. She hisses in dissatisfaction. You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman. Fine. I'll shut up. If you want to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace. Alright, then it's decided. The persecutors will stop and I will expect you to assist in locating any remaining amulets or weapons left by the cultists. Alright. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. I gotta remember how to get out of here. Was it over here? I think so. Alright, this is where Abelard confronts me. I remember this part too from the beta. Essentially what's happening here is he feels like I just... Basically when he was under Theodora, he was able to just do whatever he wanted. She trusted him to do things. And I've stepped in and basically made him look like a little bitch. Because he was the one who ordered the assault team, and I just went down there and said, actually, that was wrong. We're going to do it this way. I got to put him in his place, essentially. Are you pleased with your investigation, my lord? You kowtowed to the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked, the rabble will welcome them in with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they want because they see you as weak. Let's talk about your role in this. You allowed the revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene. So this is where he's really upset. Lord Captain Theodora never once set slippered foot in the lower decks. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers. So I'll tell you what. Maybe if Theodora had spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There's a new Lord Captain aboard this ship, and I will not repeat her mistake. I commend your decisiveness, but I am uncomfortable with introducing new protocols in the midst of a crisis. Sorry I lost my temper. I mentioned this, I think, during the beta. I was like, it's very rare for this to happen, where someone actually fesses up and says, I'm sorry, I fucked up. My bad. Like, this is an interesting thing. I cannot wait until the day I can talk about all the things that went down with Stormhaven Studios. It's going to be fun. The stories I will be able to tell. People. Being people. Not knowing their place. And not being willing to accept when they're wrong. That's the big one. Alright. You need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader. Accept it and start living in a new world. A world where Theodora is gone and where you and I have new decisions to make. Yes, Lord Captain. Being a boss is, you know, being the person in charge is not always everything it's cracked up to be. Because sometimes you have to make hard decisions, and sometimes people management is a pain in the ass. Because some people don't want to, some people have fragile egos. Me first complexes.